So let's talk about the true meaning of forgiveness, what forgiveness really represents. There's different ways to break down what forgiveness means. In the most superficial layer, forgiveness means letting go of a burden that you've been carrying. That's why forgiveness is not something that you necessarily do to the other person. Forgiveness is something you give yourself. The other person has to forgive themselves so they transcend their own burden and their own shadow. So that's one way of looking at forgiveness. The second way of looking at forgiveness is that forgiveness is seeing everything as love. All of the times you've been disrespected, abused, all the times you abused others, all of the times you abused yourself, all of the times someone acted with an ill intention towards you, and all the times that you did that to others. Forgiveness is understanding the true path of learning we all need to go through. Forgiveness is the ultimate level of courage. It sits right beyond the transcendence of the ego and the survival drive, the animalistic drive that wants to dominate and conquer and kill. So forgiveness is, it requires a lot of courage to step into forgiveness. Forgiveness is the complete dissolution of everything that anybody might have ever done to you. And everything that you've done to anybody, which is bad, which is evil, which was evil. Forgiveness is to give forth, is the ultimate state of self-love, is forgiveness. You give forth all your defenses. You give forth your shields. You give forth the part of you that was trying to protect themselves from the pain of experiencing that evil again, the fear of having to experience that pain ever again. So forgiveness is when you give forth your defenses and you open up to ultimate vulnerability, which is the ultimate state of power. That's why we say vulnerability is power. If you zoom out a little bit, if you zoom out from a immediate narrow focus on the things that you experience, you're gonna realize that we're all learning. No one really knows what they're doing. And you'll realize that anybody that would be coming from a true empowered and elevated state of being wouldn't have any ill intentions towards anyone else. So when somebody abuses you, or either you abuse yourself, you need to realize that that burden and that poison and that pain, that corrosive substance, comes from a lower level of consciousness and information, which is destructive and unsustainable. So it's your duty tapping into the letting go, tapping into vulnerability, giving forth and giving up your own urge to hold on to that fear and hold on to that pain. So forgiveness is the transcendence of pain. And anything that doesn't happen according to the way we expect it should be forgiven instantly. Almost as if life was a constant movement of forgiveness and letting go, a constant movement of letting go. Because as soon as I try to control anything in the uncontrollable, infinite speed and velocity in which things emerge in life and in the world, as soon as I try to control that, I take on an impossible role. And when I take on that impossible role, my energy is instantly, it encounters a ceiling and I can't transcend. The only way to transcend it is to forgive. So think of it as every step you take in life is a step of forgiveness. Everything that happens, forgiven. Every thought that was not good, instantly forgiven. Everything, forgiveness, everywhere. Everything is forgiven. Everything is open. Because from that state of openness and vulnerability, that's not weakness. That's where power emerges. Because when you forgive, when you're inhabiting true power and you're not fearful of anything, then you operate from that higher dimension. And you never hurt yourself again. You never hurt others for the sake of hurting them. And you have much more energy available to you. You know, we have energy, and there's something called energy management. How we manage the energy that is available to us and our capability of channeling energy. So forgiveness is a way of converting. You see, when someone abuses us or someone bullies us or someone offends us or someone attacks us, or if we ever do that to ourselves, there's a certain energy that's being captured. And instead of just handing it back, you've captured it and you decided to stay with it, to take it to yourself. Now, that can happen on a moment-to-moment basis, or that can happen in a span of a year, 5 years, 10 years, or a lifetime. When you capture these energies, now your responsibility to convert this energy, like an alchemist. You convert pain into forgiveness. You bring the shadow to clarity, to light. You change the acid to an alkaline substance and property inside of yourself. And from that emerges forgiveness. And forgiveness has now to be channeled. So forgiveness is really, the ability to forgive is the ability to become more of an alchemist in your rich laboratory that is you, in changing acid to alkaline, something that was corrosive, to something that is pure and that sustains itself.